Morning, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. Also, thank you to our sponsor, Sage. Thank you so much. Today's show, got a little bit of a beauty ahead of us, don't we?
We've got someone back.
We do. Third time back?
Fourth. Oh, was it fourth?
Fourth time back. Is it fourth?
Maybe you
Third?
can help us out, Sammy.
Third.
Is it third time?
Okay, so it's the third time on the show. Reason being is because it's such a good story. And also we love the brand and we love the company. But before that...
And we love Sammy.
We also love Sammy as well. You know?
Appreciate it.
Hope you enjoyed yesterday's show. Hope to say it'll be just as good.
Yeah.
Anyway, for any startups out there or any companies that are looking to get in with any of the big chains, hopefully we're going to talk today about what the journey looks like and also what the journey actually is.
Could be completely different things. Sammy,
Yeah.
thanks so much for coming in again.
Always
Third
a pleasure.
time.
Always a
Yeah.
pleasure.
Third time. First time van, 2 times in studio.
You're mixing up the time that we were supposed to go for
Yeah.
pints. And
Oh, yeah. And you bailed on us.
I'm pointing at your logo here because you didn't sign last time. We actually
know.
weren't signing this last time you were
I'm
in.
just delighted that I didn't spell it wrong.
Yeah.
yeah, that'd be awkward.
I'm amazed you didn't actually go for here.
Yeah,
you
get
know,
the branding on
fancy
screen.
Camera.
I'll get you a massive sticker for there. Then.
Yeah, do, because we're going to fill that up with stickers as well. Right, as we said on the intro, we're going to talk about your brand, obviously, which is Strong Roots, and we're going to talk about Tesco in particular.
Sure.
Right, because obviously they're such a big company here, and if you obviously we see it all on Dragon's Den and other companies like that, or brand, TV shows like that, I should say, that if you get in with them, you're doing well, right?
Yeah.
But some people have an idea in their head what the journey might look like, but you're going to tell us what the journey actually is like.
Yeah. I mean, first things first, the last time I was here, we weren't on sale in Tesco. So
Yeah,
it's
you're
been-
very coy about it. So
Yeah.
it must have been
Yeah.
on the cards last time.
I mean, I think we had a discussion about it off air. But,
We
you know,
did, yeah.
Those things, and that's, I suppose, the story that I should tell about the fact
Yeah.
that even when you get the go-ahead and even when people are interested internally in relatively high positions in Tesco, until that bag is on the shelf, you are not in.
really?
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, it comes right down to making no presumptions about what your position is in the market, because both for yourself in terms of organizing your business around something like that, as well as
Yeah.
them organizing their business around trends and new markets and new customers and all that kind of stuff. There are so many things that have to collide to make that work.
Yeah.
Much more than me. I can't take any you know, of the praise for doing it. I have a big team that were involved.
So take us to the beginning, right?
Mm-hmm.
So did they reach out to you? Did you reach out to them? What way did it work from the very start?
So we already have a relationship with Tesco Ireland,
Okay.
which is a separate trading company, part of the group obviously, but completely separate, working in a different currency, different suppliers and different demographic of people in Ireland obviously. So we got into Tesco in late 2016 and to I think it was about 100 stores in Ireland. It had been performing pretty well, and for the previous 6 months I had been trying to find the right person in Tesco UK.
Would they help you out? Would Ireland put you in contact with the UK?
Eventually there was an introduction made on the basis of the products were going well. If the products are not going well, I don't think
Forget
that
about it.
introduction
Yeah.
would have happened. So we'd done all the right things in the Irish market to justify someone, you know, speaking up for us basically.
Good.
In the middle of all of this, Tesco had a massive staffing change internally.
Okay.
You know, that they've had some big struggles with their business. They've completely turned it around. They've restructured how they operate as a business internally, and we've been part of that change, both in business. So, you know, things change from when you start conversations to when you
Yeah.
finish them, as well as the fact that the business and the environment has changed. We've got a different type of consumer now who's looking for a, you know, mass available plant-based vegan offerings that are good for you and, you know, affordable. And that didn't exist 2 years ago
Yeah.
in the same way that it does now. So we're still kind of riding this wave of the interest in the subject as well as growing our business at the same time.
If you look at the likes of Amazon, which everyone knows are massive, and then Tesco are obviously huge as well. Dealing with the two, is it chalk and cheese? Is it completely different? Obviously,
Well, they're
Tesco is more important than Amazon for you, giving the
Well,
what
not
you do.
necessarily, because, you know, since we've spoken last, Amazon acquired Whole Foods Market in
Yeah.
the US.
Yeah.
They both make up, I think, you know, the top 10 retailers in the world.
Yeah.
So we're now dealing with two companies who are in the top 10 retailers in the world.
Crazy,
One
isn't it? Yeah.
which is number one, and I think Tesco's maybe number 5 or 6, possibly higher. So they're both as important for the long run, because what we're trying to do is create a global brand. We
Yeah.
just happen to be starting in Ireland and now in the UK, and we've spread our wings a little bit further. But for us, regardless of the size of what they are now,
Yeah.
the retail landscape is changing, and Tesco has both a new channel of distribution in terms of online and traditional, which is in store. And now Amazon has the same. So there has to be something to be said for big retail chains needing physical outfits as well as online. It's a major shift in the growth of online.
So back to the UK,
Yes.
right? When someone put you in contact, or when you made contact with the UK, what happened from there?
To be fair, it came from growing the size of our team. So
Okay.
what we realised really quickly in Ireland was the UK was a different type of market, and we needed, a crack team of individuals that were going to literally break us into the UK. So I brought on our sales director, a lady called Emma Curtis from another startup brand called Bear. She had formerly been in Mondelez, with a specific goal of trying to break into some of the bigger retailers, in particular Tesco.
Yeah.
Tesco are, have been chosen by us, and thankfully on the other side the feeling was mutual.
Yeah.
Where we see them as a key launch partner in the market, both for what we're doing and the customers that they have, because they've got very different demographics of people, as well as mass and availability. So first of all was hiring the right people to do it, because my expertise in particular was with the Irish market.
The Irish market,
I'm not going to pretend that, in a short space of time that I can learn everything about the market. So first we had to invest in the people.
And was it hugely different?
Massively.
Massively.
In what way?
Conversations are different, scale is different, presentation is completely different in terms of in store, but also like, functional things, how they run their business, how they operate, how how you get paid, how you deliver things. It's all completely the opposite. So we had to buy in that talent. So since we've talked last, I've got a global supply chain manager with experience in retail for this purpose, sales director for this purpose, a senior national account manager who looks after specifically Tesco business, and then a field sales manager on the road that knows the Tesco, I suppose, store parts. So actually we had to completely reinvest in kind of another startup again. And we made our internal investment also to be able to get that up and running. So it's been a completely different launch strategy for us in every single way.
If you get in the door with the likes of Tesco, right, do they do things like, we'll test it here, right, and then we'll roll it out around other stores? Because as you said, you've got someone on the road who's going around selling this as well, and he's calling into different Tesco branches. She, right? So are they starting from scratch again, walking in the door, or is it just someone going, yeah, look, some from Strong Roots popping down, we sell them in this store, so yeah, entertain them?
Not at all. It's all completely cold. It's like, someone like Tesco will communicate directly to stores what the new range changes are. Right. It's important to understand that within frozen in particular, there's only 2 times a year that they change what they have on the shelves, unless it's for a very, very specific purpose, because they have to plan, you have to plan, and Tesco is something like 3,500 stores. They can't just switch on and off the tap and expect no repercussions in the middle, and they're hugely supportive of the supply base. So the information that you get around forecasting and promotion and marketing potential and all those kind of things. It used to be in the past where retailers were something you could hope for and then stay in for as long as you were in the good books. It's now complete partnership, because there's so much risk attached to launching a new brand. Luckily, so far so good for us. It's early days, it's only like a month in, but things are going really well. The customers are liking the product, the feedback's been really good, and it's moving off the shelves. But when you get it on the shelf, that's when it starts. I mean, it's really, really, really hard work to put it on the shelf. But once it's on, there's like 50 brands that are trying to take your place. And in physical stores, if you want to get on, you have to knock something else off, and then when you want to stay, you've got to make sure that you're doing something better.
You have to
than
earn
everybody
your
else.
Yeah.
place and keep your place. Yeah,
Exactly.
Sorry, go on.
Yeah, no, I was just going to say sometimes it's harder to keep it than actually get it in
Yeah.
the first place.
That's when the hard work starts. It's it's no different to a sports team. Everyone is trying to improve all the time
Yeah.
to make sure that they're on the squad.
Yeah.
And it's no different in retail.
Is it the same though in stores? So say if you start off in, let's say, a store around the corner, right, and you're in a particular part of the shelf, does that mean that you're in every store, or is it going to be a different part in different stores?
There's different classes of stores.
Okay.
So
All right. Okay.
it depends on, I suppose, what range you carry.
Right.
If you take Tesco Express, for example,
Yeah.
they're going to have a smaller frozen range than a Tesco Extra in the
Yeah.
suburbs. So at the moment, we're in Tesco Extra and Tesco Metro, which are their two bigger format
Yeah.
stores.
The Express are the smaller ones, aren't they?
Exactly. The Express are the convenience ones, and we're really, really hopeful about doing more business, in particular in central London in the next 12 months. But it really just depends on what size the store is, because how many spaces do they have in the freezer.
So if you are in, say, an Express, and you're in a particular section in an Express, you're in the same section throughout them all of the Expresses.
For the most part,
the
but then there's different sizes of Expresses as well. It
Yeah,
gets really, really complicated.
there's so many stores.
Like essentially, there's a whole science behind this. It's called, it's based off something called a planogram.
Okay.
And a planogram is essentially a map of facings in a door or a shelf or whatever it might be. And the planogram is planned down to the finest detail about, how many facings you have and how much space you have in store. The bigger the seller, the more space it has. And I think I said this to you guys before. I see the retail business, in particular FMCG, as more of a property business, because if you're not on the shelf, you can't sell the product.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So the big brands like Unilevers and the P&Gs, they're creating more and more products to compete with themselves so that they can have that property.
Yeah.
And if you have the property, you can sell because you're more than one choice.
Of course.
So it's about earning your place to stay on and then playing that property game, kind of.
Yeah, here's an interesting one, right? So this is something we were thinking about when the Tesco announcement came out. So obviously there's a lot of people watching this who run startups, and a lot of them want to get in with big businesses, because that means big contracts, big money, all that sort of stuff.
Sure.
There's an issue with larger organizations throwing their weight around, I suppose, and making the smaller companies kind of bend over backwards in a way they usually wouldn't, because they have the power.
Yeah.
What are the conversations like with the likes of Tesco? Is it, this is our way, this is how we do things, this is the price we'll pay?
I think it
per
probably
unit?
used to be like that in the past, but I really do think that day is gone. It can't be about that anymore, because everyone's under so much regulation about assurance and guarantees with suppliers, because no one wants to do anyone out of a specific business. At the same time, you have to be realistic about what's working and what's not. And I think that some of the biggest problems is that people sometimes, in the grand scheme of things, don't see it from both sides. There has to be an expectation and a KPI of, what is success for both sides.
Yeah.
And you have to be very, very clear about what that is, because while it might be big business for you going into Tesco and selling one pack a week in every store,
Yeah, it's not for
that's
them.
not going to keep the place, and they have to justify, they're running a business the same as you are. And it's not often that I advocate, the struggles of big business, but I've been in
You've changed. haven't you?
retail.
You've
Well, I've been in
changed.
retail for 12 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And one of the best things and best pieces of advice that I could give is the fact that you have to understand what they want, and craft a presentation,
Around
a
that.
portfolio, a product range around what's going to work from them, because they have inflexibilities. And one of the biggest things that I've learned through this whole process is that you have to consider everything, and not just presume that, it tastes great, it looks great, everyone will want this. What do you mean you don't want? Everyone will want this. You have to consider everything. It has to be a holistic approach.
So what we'll finish up on this one bit of advice, right? To other brands and products out there, it doesn't even have to be food, just getting in with the likes, and we'll just take Tesco for an example. Getting in with the likes of them, what one bit of advice could you give, other than what you said there, just tailor and make sure you know what they want out of it as well, not just, as you said, going, this is great, it's brilliant, everyone's going to want it.
Yeah.
What one bit of advice would you give?
I would say, you know, one of the most important things that I always try and get across is the fact that there are other avenues in food that don't result in being with one of the major retailers. Because what a lot of food companies set out to do is they look at, you know, big brands like Coca-Cola or Innocent or you know, Ella's Kitchen or one of these kind of newer success stories, and they don't realize that in a lot of cases, you know, some people like ourselves set out to be big business. We want to be a big brand and we want to bring good food to everyone, like continuously right now.
Yeah.
But it's okay to not be a big food business because, you know, some of the most talented chefs and best products ever made are micro industry.
Yeah.
And I think there's a certain expectation nowadays that you have to be big in food if you're in food. It's almost becoming the new tech. Everyone's looking for like a unicorn that's going to be flipped for X amount billion or whatever. But that's not what food is. Food should be sustainable, and if it's your food business, it should be for you and it should have you behind it. So what I would say is not just have an expectation about what to expect in a big food business, but understand what you want.
Yeah.
Because having a big food business and a brand is very, very different from, you know, being a foodie. In fact, I really, really dislike the word foodie because it's sort of been taken to a place where it has nearly no meaning now, where you're just having like a can of soup.
Hashtag foodie.
Yeah.
So, you know, understand what you want from it.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be the Tesco. Like I'd quite comfortably have relationships with some of our smaller independent customers who are, you know, some of the most interesting and knowledgeable people about food. They might have one store, they might have, you know, a small convenience store, but they might be one of the highest selling stores for us for Strong Roots because they understand it.
Yeah, yeah, of course. Well, not to neglect them. So what's next for you guys? Because you are growing hugely.
Yeah, no.
We're gonna have to get you back on the show in about 6 months' time from now.
Well, you know, we're just around the corner from you guys.
Yeah.
We're just about to move into.
Welcome to the area.
Thank you very much. EC2A, here we come. No, I'm really excited because we've been working in co-working space with the office group for the last. I should probably not say that because of your other affiliations. We've been working in a co-working space for the last a year here.
Yeah.
And we've got to a level now where we're going out on our own and we're growing up and we're getting our own space that we can build as a brand experience space.
Yeah.
So hopefully we're going to be doing some cool stuff like opening a pop-up to launch it.
Cool.
And, you know, having a place where people can come and understand what we're about as a brand.
Yeah.
We've massively pivoted in what our structure is for our brand attributes.
Yeah.
Previously, you know, we were keeping our horizons open as to what we could do.
Yeah.
And now we're very, very firmly sticking a mast in the ground about plant-based, environmental responsibility. And we'll be kind of releasing what that means for us in the next few months as a brand. And then, you know, putting together a promise document that we want to try and achieve because it's something that our consumers have asked for.
Yeah.
It's great. It's nice that you. Well, if it's anything like the Dublin space, I don't know if we still have footage from that, but if it is, it's up on screen now. If you do have the footage,
It's all about branding, isn't
Dublin
it?
space.
We moved to a new place since you've been there. We have a new office in Dublin 6 months ago, since you were in the
Oh,
old-
really?
I never would have left that. That
Yeah.
other office was epic.
Yeah,
So
no,
good.
Yeah.
we've got a cooler space now. It's,
Really?
it's awesome, yeah.
We'll be the judges of that now. And we get along. We'll see that, right?
It'll be similar to the one around the corner. I was wondering which one you were talking about earlier on, yeah.
Yeah.
Moving that fast, like so. Move to a new place in Dublin, and now a new
The
one here.
space you were in was only suitable for like 6 to 8 people. And
Okay.
now we've got 15 people in Dublin and 5 of us in London, so
Wow.
it's just due to scaling, yeah.
Well, we're
Brilliant,
really
brilliant.
excited to see what the space here is going to look like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're going to hang around as well because we want to talk to you about branding. No one gets out of the studio unless we talk about, especially since we're going through a rebranding.
Absolutely,
You know,
absolutely.
Sammy, thanks so much. Third time's a charm. Thank you so much for coming in.
Pleasure.
Thank you so much for watching. Tomorrow is Midweek Hump. Tomorrow,
It is midweek hump.
Mark and
Another
I
midweek
chatting
hump.
about stuff that, like, hopefully you're kind of even slightly
Yeah,
interested
we
in.
promise not to talk about behind the curtain, and we promise not to talk about. I won't say we won't talk about branding because we will. It's all about branding.
It's going to be going back
Yeah.
to Brandon. Guys, thank you so much for watching. Make sure you tune in for Midweek Hump tomorrow. Have a great Tuesday. Thank you so much.
And thanks so
Bye-bye.
much to our sponsors as well, Sage. Thank
Cheers,
you.
Sage. Bye-bye.